Hey, it's MK, and I am back with 31 days of cut file fun. And for these last few days, we will be playing with Miss Kate's Cuttables. And this one here is this adorable little kit that you could purchase, it's all included, and it's all this really fun candied apple stuff. I also found this really, really old sketch of mine. I mean, like, a lot. So I'm going to kind of sort of use it, but not really to its full extent. I also have some Bow Bunny lace that is left over from a Not Just for Boys kit club, one of my first ones actually. And I thought I would include some of these brads by My Mind's Eye. And then I have some really fun buttons by Not Just for Boys Kit Club. So I plan on including some of those as well. And then there's little tiny house charms, which I always forget about. I also have a bunch of other little candy pieces that I have previously made. So I've got a couple lollipops, a couple little, like, I don't know, wrapped candy, I guess is what they are. So several different ones. These are also from Miss Kate's Cuttables. And to be honest, what's really cool about her shop is you can either go to her directly, or she's in the Silhouette Design Store as well as the Cricut Design Space. So I think that that is very versatile, especially if you don't want to go searching and downloading and then putting it into the Cricut, you can, or the Silhouette, however you guys do it all. I think it's very nice because then you can just search for Miss Kate's and all of her images pop up and you can purchase them directly from your cutting machines, design studios and things like that. So I think that's very helpful and very generous of her to do that, even though you have to still pay for her images through either one. I'm not sure if any of them come up for sale or freebies or anything like that. I have no idea. But I do know that on each and every, I think it's month or day, she has a brand new cut file for free that you can go grab and get it. So what else am I showing you guys? I'm showing you guys this cute, adorable doodlebug print from 2011. Can you say that I don't purchase any Halloween stuff? And then I also have this My Mind's Eye print. It's called Mischievous, which was really weird because it had really weird colors, but also 2011. Yes. I also picked out some black cardstock, but I won't be using it because I found something else I wanted to use as a base, which I thought was pretty cool. I have these thickers also from my Not Just for Boys Kit Club, and it's called Mwahaha. Sorry, I just had to say it like that. I don't know how else you say it. But I think that they're adorable, and they're not really puffy, but they're puffy, if that makes any sense. They're not soft, super puffy, but they're neat. And I like how when you pull them off, they don't crease in there. All right, for my base pages, I found these really cool, like almost Harlequin designs, and this is a Stampin' Up paper, I believe from about 2 years ago, maybe 3. Yeah, so I will be using those as my base. I also pulled out a whole bunch of tools to be using with my cut files. Don't forget the Not Just for Boys sequins. I love this sequins mix, you guys. It's adorable. It has bats and spider webs and stuff all in it. I also have a bunch of ink daubers and then a few more pads in different colors. I didn't want to pull out my brushes for all of this stuff. Some of the stuff's going to go by so super easy that an ink dauber is just fine. But I did pull out a brush to do my large brown surfaces. Okay, the colors that I chose, this is the colors that I chose for my brown brush, which are 3 close to my heart colors in brown. And then all the other colors I chose are also close to my heart. Yeah, I've just got all of their brights, which, well, they don't classify anything in, brights and subtles and darks and things like that. It's just in color rainbow order in their catalog. So they don't have groupings of colors. Anyways, first thing that I recommend you guys doing on such a large cut file, especially if you cut everything in white, is to separate them into their groupings of how they're supposed to be. So I'm going to group the title and then all of the different little apples going on. Now, if you purchased it from me, if you pull it out flat instead of trying to pull it out like it's a package and you're pulling it up, if you pull it all out flat, it all should be stacked on top of each other, and so fairly easy for you guys to separate. I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure Christina would have done the exact same thing, anything to make it easier for the customer, but I don't know that answer. So I just know that as I was cutting it, I was putting the apples kind of sort of together for you and then stacked them like that. So I have no intention of using the title at all. I didn't have any intention of using the title, but I could not pass up these gorgeous apples, you guys. In fact, you could even use them as cherries and not use any of the candy portion for it. So I thought that that would be kind of cute too. So what I'm doing is I am covering up the entire bottom portion, but because I only need a little bit of the underside, like the second part of the apple colored, I'm only going to color what I need. I don't intend to color everything if I don't need it. It just helps. And then when I blend my colors in, what I'm doing is I am making it dark on one edge and then making it light around the rest, so that way I get a shade already. But I'm also going to go in with this charcoal ink and actually shade the edges. I think that it gives it some sort of 3D dimension and helps me out. And I keep going back and forth to make sure that my red stays dark red. The more that the ink soaks into the paper, the more you're going to get a lighter color than what it was when it was wet. Even though it wasn't like wet to the touch, it was still wet on top of the paper. And once it soaks into all of the fibers of the paper, which is kind of weird to think that ink does that, but it does, and it does change its color ever so slightly. Now the green one, I have to put a lot on because I want green apples. And I do know that it is going to soak into the paper. So when it soaks in, I want that green color that I want. And I do get it first try because the red ones kind of gave me a run for my money. With the little candies for the very first candied apple, I'm shading it dark on one side, dark on the other side, but leaving the inside kind of sort of light. It's still got color on it, but I want it to be light so that way I can... that way it kind of still has that 3D look. I want it to look like it's three-dimensional instead of just a flat piece that's going to be glued down to some chocolate or caramel or whatever you want to call it. Yes. So, and once I am done with all of this shading, then I go to and actually put it all together. I left all of this in for you guys to see. Technically, this only took me about 45 minutes real time. Technically. I say technically because my kids are still home. School starts next week. I cannot wait. My kids are still home, and I just constantly get interrupted every time I go. And it's a joy having 4 children because one of them comes in and asks for something, and then another one comes in and asks for something, and then another one comes in and asks for something, and it's nonstop. You should be here for lunch. It's a blast because one of them wants this and the other one wants that and then the other one wants that, and yeah, it's a joy. They're teenagers. Just eat what's in the fridge. It's nice that they ask though, because then it's showing respect, because if it's for like dad's lunch, they don't want to eat it if dad intended to take it for his lunch. So yes, we enjoy that they do that, but it's one right after another, and it'll drive a normal person insane. So it's a good thing I'm not normal. All right. So instead of having brown sequins, also included in the Apple kit that I did for my customers was I included the sheet so that way you could see what pieces go to which element in case it's hard for you to envision a whole bunch of white pieces. I get that concept. So basically, it also shows you color choices. Well, I switched out a few colors for what I wanted to do in my layout. Like one of the colored candies on the first apple was supposed to be brown. I made it blue. The little sprinkles on top of the second apple, they were also supposed to be brown. I made them blue, and so on and so forth. So yes, I definitely got to change up my colors, even though it does look a lot like the the photos in the little paper that is included, or the paper that I showed at the very beginning of the of starting this project. I set it off to the side as soon as I was done looking at it, and then went from there. So really weird. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and glue everything together. Because I just used ink, everything should be dry. I'm not really worried about I already have inky fingers. Seriously, I can't ink with holding the lid on my project. I have never been able to do that. I don't know why. Even on larger surfaces where you're trying to ink everything, I have not been able to do that. I keep trying to see if maybe it's a practice thing, but yeah. So I decided to pop up my little candies with some 3D foam. Not that you'll notice in the final results of the layout, but it makes me happy. So, and then I put the little stick kind of at an angle to give it a little personality. That's it. But honestly, when you get something like this, or if you choose to get something like this, you don't have to ink from edge to edge. You only have to do that on the pieces that are going to be shown. I absolutely love, and I think I've said this last time too. I love doing layered projects like this, because when you use liquid glue and everything is put together, it is a solid piece of embellishment. I absolutely love it. I love how solid it becomes. Now, the third apple, the green apple, I actually got a little carried away with my heavy-handedness, and I did wrinkle the very top layer, so that candy happens to be a little bit cracked, but that's okay. Honestly, it doesn't bother me at all. Putting together my these cubes are like caramel cubes. So I'm putting those together. I absolutely love how those turned out as well. And then also for the green apple and the apple with sprinkles on top, I also chose not to do the bows. That's a little too girly for me. I didn't want the bows. So I set those off to the side as well. What do I intend to do with those items? Probably nothing. I probably won't do, I'll probably throw the bows away. And maybe I'll keep the apple of my eye title. Maybe. I'm not really sure. It's a little too cutesy for me. The candied apples were more on my side. And even though that the price included the title, I could still use the smaller apples for something else for sure. Because they're a separate image. That's one of the things I love about Kate's stuff, is everything is a separate image. You don't need this image to make this image work. So I love how you can take away from something and not need it or adapt it for yourself. So anyways, and also, I just think it's a little too cutesy for me, even though the apples I could use over and over and over again, because I love carameled or candied apples. It's my favorite. All right, so I'm going to take this. I left this in because you could get 4 4.25 by 6.25 photo mats out of a piece of paper, but if you flip it 4 times, just like I did for the 2, you could get 4 pieces. I know it's not ingenious. I know that there's somebody out there that actually shows you how to do it in real time in a video, but for me, I just wanted to get 2 4 1/8 by 6 1/8, and then I did 4 by 4s. You can barely notice the difference that I did that, but I did want all of my writing to go in the right direction, is kind of the way that I did what I did. So I did my 4 by my larger photo mats, not even going to bother with the sizes anymore. The way that, that when I twisted it and only cut part of it out of my trimmer, and then the other 4 by 6s, I just cut straight up and down, so that way the words were going in the right direction. Now I'm going to set all of my candies around, because I just wanted to make this look like, like the kids' candy bags I wanted it to look like the bottom of a candy bag during Halloween. I absolutely love that. Even though there's absolutely no candy whatsoever being seen in the photos, I'm okay with that. They are Halloween. They're actually right. This is before Halloween. We bought the kids' costumes, even though we weren't allowed to go trick-or-treating because this was in 2020. We still got the kids' costumes. We still wanted them to do it. And basically what our neighborhood did is we did a show off. So everyone got to drive around in their costumes, honk your horns, and they would flash their lights and things like that. People over decorated the outsides of their houses. Normally they decorate the outsides of their houses, but this time they over decorated just to give the kids something to look at and, still made it fun. Loads of fun. We were going to do what we call trunk or treating, which is everybody parks their cars and opens their trunks and the kids go from trunk to trunk, but there was no way that we could have kept the kids to understand the distance thing and whatnot. So even though there was no candy involved this year, because my children's costumes were a little on the dark side, like there's no color whatsoever, people. I want bright and colorful costumes. This is a joke. Anyways, but it's what my kids wanted. So I decided to make the layout bright and colorful. This is what I love about Halloween layouts, is the bright and colorful colors that I get to use, and I don't get to use them on a normal basis at all. So basically what I did was I laid out everything. I shut the camera off, glued it all down. Then I went through and added sequins all over because, again, I wanted it to look like a very busy bottom of the basket candy bag is what I wanted it to look like. And then, of course, instead of just using trick or treat, I loved the title Tricks and Treats because I absolutely love that. I'm really glad that was on this sheet because it really went better for my title than anything else. So went ahead and I took off the boring part about getting everything put together, going to put it what is that? I don't know. Oh, I'm putting down a second title, like a subtitle. I'm sorry, I couldn't even see it myself. Weird. But it says Candy Please. I didn't know when else I would be using this or when else I would be making another layout like this. So I decided to use two titles. So it says Tricks and Treats Candy Please is what it says. And here are the close-ups. Thank you so, so much for listening to me ramble on and on. I had so much fun creating these apples, putting together the candies. I just really enjoyed it. I actually enjoy cutting out the cutouts in white and coloring them myself because then they get to match exactly a little bit better than if I was to have just used plain cardstock. Absolutely. So thank you so much for watching. I hope that you guys go over and check out Christina. I am dying to know how she is using Miss Kate's Cuttables. Seriously, I just can't wait, especially in a live when just coloring the apples took 45 minutes. All right, be sure to check out Christina and I will see you guys all later. Thank you.